no bullshit, Adam. Those bikes are under two different semis. I know
Yeah.
there's possibly more help from factory Suzuki, but are those bikes different? Because it has been a somewhat known fact that the Twisted T bike is potentially not as good as the progressive bike, if I'm being candid.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be totally 100% honest with you. Look at Ken Roczen came over to the team, and Suzuki got interested in Ken Roczen and's like, "Hey, we got a real title fight coming on. No disrespect to Kyle Chisholm and Colt Nichols, but when you have a guy like Ken Roczen, it makes you breathe light in." And Suzuki came over, helped us out, but everybody knows it. They haven't been in the racing scene for a long time, so it takes you a while to get back into it. And they gave us as many parts, or gave PMG as many parts as they could possibly get, right? So they were just giving us parts, or giving the team parts as fast as they possibly could. So it wasn't a matter of like, oh, this guy gets this or this guy gets that. It's like, how fast can we make this? And two, is this even good? And the first guy that gets it, rightfully so, is Ken Roczen. And then it trickles down. And now that everything's going on, in the off season, Jason looked so fast that it was like, dude, we got to get everybody going. And now everybody's on the same motor package over there. Everybody kind of, has similar parts. The thing is like, they don't like the same stuff. Everybody has the availability to have the same stuff, but Jason's bike is not Ken Roczen's bike. Now, are they on the same exact motor? Same with Colt Nichols? Yeah. Does Jason Anderson have the same opportunity that Ken Roczen does? As of right now, yes, he does. So the bike is different. The bike is different for sure, but it's different because they want it to be different. Which
that's personal preference, not equipment.
Yes. And the only reason that is because time, money, and being able to get things done. It's not necessarily like, oh, this guy's not good enough. It's people,
well, and Kenny's got what, 3 years of built up R&D with you guys for.
I mean, he's got 3 years of that. Plus he has all the stuff he had on Soaring Eagles, because it was like, there's a lot of parts that are still the same. I know that sounds insane. You know what I mean? But it's like, there's things that translate that he knew that he wanted and he's getting. I mean, did you guys see the setup on Kenny's bike? It looks Soaring Eagle-esque. The way that the bike was set up, the way that the front end was, the way the bike looked. I mean, it looks like the Soaring Eagles bike is with the black rear end and the yellow front end. I mean, dude, our bike looks so tough. I love it. And just
why would you
go ahead?
Go. No, I interrupt you. My apologies, Adam.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
How do you argue with the idea that the Soaring Eagle, he went almost undefeated except when his fork seals blew out? So you can mock the idea that there might be an old technology, but he dominated on that bike, and he looks damn good at WSX, and he looks damn good at A1. People can say what they want, but it's pretty hard to dismiss results.
Yeah, I mean, let's just
props to you guys.
Yeah, let's just put it this way, dude. At the end of the day, and Ricky Carmichael proved this in his career, if you have a good rider, he can go fast. I mean, dude, you could whip out a 08 CRF 450 right now, and you could have anybody could go buy a brand new 2025 or 2026 Yamaha, and I will blow your goggle strap to the moon out on the track. You know what I mean? It's like, you don't need the best, newest bike to do good. You need it to be able to, what do I want to say? The Jorge Prado effect. You need to be able to know what the bike's going to do. If you know what the bike's going to do,
confident in the bike.
Yes. And knowing, though, you know what I mean? Like, that's one of the hardest things that happened with me going from Honda to Suzuki, was what the bike was translating to me in my hands was so different than what the translation, that I felt from the Honda. It was like learning a new language. It was like going from English to Spanish, because as a rider, our job is to translate what traction is under the front tire and under the rear tire. That's it. You can have suspension components, you can have stiffer motor mounts, you can have different linkages, you can have different bars, you can have whatever you want, but it's how you are reading the traction from the front tire and the rear tire through your hands up to your mind and knowing what that translates to. So with that being said, it doesn't matter if it's an 08, if it's a 2025, 2026, if you know how to read and speak that language, you understand that motorcycle and you can go as fast as you want to.
So, Adam, I know I'm getting close to needing to let you go here. We haven't talked about Degan. Okay. And I know it's just round one. There's still a lot going on. And I know right now the series doesn't really want to talk about East and West because the 250 class is named differently now. But what is your take on Degan getting fourth and having Levi crash and work his way almost back up to the rear tire of Degan and have his teammate Max win? Does this look bad for Degan? And is it a missed opportunity for him not going 450?
Well, definitely not missed opportunity. I want to start there. After watching Anaheim 1, the best decision Degan ever could have made was not stepping onto the 450 yet. And the reason, I was decent at racing, but I was never that speed. So, it is what it is. But my opinion is that Levi Kitchen and Haiden Deegan still have a lot of growing up to do. They're kids, dude, and they're making dumb mistakes. Deegan talked about how he had brain fog, and chose the wrong gate. Well, guess what, dude? That's why you have to be mature and you have to understand that you can't just trust yourself. You have to trust the team around you.
Honestly, I think he had the same gate as Tomac, though, if we're going for reference.
There you go. Well, either way, that is his opinion. So either whether it's right or wrong, opinion matters in this sport because that drives confidence. And clearly he made a decision that made him unconfident, right? So you have to be able to rely on your team. You have to be able to rely on everybody else to help you make decisions and help you, get to the right spot. And to me, Levi Kitchen and Haiden Deegan really showed this weekend that they're still youngsters, that they still have a lot to learn. And it is troublesome, especially when you're looking towards the 450 class, knowing that Haiden Deegan didn't get the start when he really, really needed it. And he's repeated this year after year after year at Anaheim. You can tell that Haiden Deegan has so much energy and he has a lot of anxiety and just nerves, whether he's going to admit it or not. I'm sure he would talk shit to me right now and, talk shit on his Instagram, and you can say whatever you want, but we all know, dude, we've ridden dirt bikes. You can't hide it. When you get to the line, you're nervous, and he gets more nervous than people think he does, because look at what he did. If he wasn't nervous going into that last main event start, he would have executed on that whole shot and got the job done. But he was a little nervous. He made a little mistake, and, he didn't get out front. And that's where that maturity comes in, and that's where that learning comes in, is you have to be able to get that done. Now, am I worried about Deegan for the championship? No. You got the A1 nerves, shaking off, and now all he's going to do is get more and more confident. He knows he has the speed. He looks good. He's seen everybody. He knows where he's at, and he can do good. As far as Levi Kitchen goes, that's an even tougher situation, right? And the reason that is because Levi pretty much, I would say, lived his worst nightmare at A1. I don't think there's anything worse in racing than being the fastest guy and then crashing and starting in the back and ending up
lap one.
Yes, lap one. That is absolute worst nightmare. And then that just goes in your in your mind as a rider, is like, oh my gosh, why do I keep doing this? I have to change. And then that can just snowball effect into the dumbest mistakes ever. And then, when you're that fast and you're in the back of the 250 class, you want to talk about weird shit happening? Welcome to it. When you're seconds faster than the guy in 15th and you're trying to go by him, and then he just does this little twitch where his tire pressure was too low and he jumps into you, all of a sudden your season could be over. So Levi Kitchen, Haiden Deegan, my opinion is, if they don't have if Levi Kitchen doesn't have a big turnaround this year at San Diego, like this next round, if he doesn't have a huge turnaround, it's not going to be a good season for Levi.
What is your take on the cross jump Degan did to Cameron and took his
Oh, nothing at all. You know, that was just a weird incident. Degan didn't do that on purpose. When I watched the video over and over, it just kind of looked like he cross-redded. That's just a tough situation to be in, because you could tell that he didn't do it on purpose because, in my opinion, because he looked back so quick too. That wasn't like him trying to see if he was gonna, you know, make McAdoo crash. That was like, oh shit, I just went way too far that direction. I hope he's not there. And he looked back and he's like, oh well, shit happens. Now, McAdoo, that was a good ride though, huh?
Yeah, very good ride.
I mean, I could see Degan trying to block the inside, but not intentionally trying to take his front wheel out, because that has major implications for him to go down. I can't even believe that like nothing happened to Degan in the air when they touched, because you know how it is. If you touch bikes in the air, for some reason, all physics disappear and they just like explode the opposite direction.
Yeah, because people have no idea how hard it is to properly counteract. You know, it's kind of like what I'd relate it to is like a cop car trying to hit you on like the outside left or outside right and then pushing you the opposite direction. Once you start going that other way, when they try to spin you out, it is so hard to keep that bike straight. I mean, it's amazing that Degan even was able to pull that off. You know, there's never a situation that you want to come in contact with anybody ever.
Adam, can I pick your brain on Degan, regardless of the lack of?
We'll let you go. I got one more question for you, dude, and I'll let you go.
Okay.
Just real quick, what's your thoughts on Degan's racecraft as a whole?
Unreal. The kid's phenomenal. I mean, he's going to be a championship contender in the 450 class. He just got a little exposed this weekend, you know, with his starts, and there's things that he still has to work on. You know, he's got to calm down. He's got to have that maturity. And unfortunately for him, I really think that it's just one of those things that comes with age. He's not even going to be able to earn it. It's just like the genetic makeup of getting older. You know, it's like you see it I relate it to my 4-year-old. You know, one day he's going through a phase of like just crying and pouting. And I'm like, did I raise my son like this? Why is this happening? And then the next week, he's not crying and pouting at all. And he's in this whole other phase of like, you know, Dad, you're the best. I want to go riding every single day. And you see them take those steps as little kids, but you see them take them so fast. So it's like happening in front of your eyes. And I just think that Haiden Deegan is at an age where it's hard for his frontal lobe to process what's going on. And he's going to mature and get better with age, you know, just physically as a human. And when that happens, it's going to be awesome to watch. He has everything in his bag. You know, right now he's just trying to stay away from these little things as a kid, which is, I mean, dude, you're a teenager. Everybody knows how it goes. You make stupid decisions for reasons you have no idea what's going on. You know,
did you see the video that Johnny put together of Degan during practice when he did the quad and then he tripled into the sand section on that right-hander? Did you see that video clip?
I didn't see that exact video, no.
That was when Johnny put that one up, because that's why I was curious on your pin. And I was looking at that when I was working with Dungy. I remember RC walked out. Mark Barnett had just built the Supercross track, and we were standing on the finish line jump, and it was a right-hander down a whole lane. And RC asked Dunge what would be the timing, what would be the rhythm.
Yeah.
RC's take was completely different. And that's when I realized, because I had a privilege of working with Chisholm when he was with Sam Manuel with James.
Yeah.
They see stuff different. Yeah. And I look at Degan, and that is what I saw when I was looking at Johnny's clip. I'm like, he just looks at the track differently. Like, to try to triple or double into that sand section in a right-hander where it could G out when you land. Just the fact that he gave it a shot, not once, but twice. Now, he didn't use it in the main event, but you know, when you're looking at trying to get that hot lap, and I was just like, dude, that's the type of creativity, very Ken Roczen-esque, where they see shit just a little bit different. That, like you said, I don't think you can train it. I think it's inborn. It's like James doing the scrub. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I do think you can train it to a certain point,